is good, Defenders, and welcome to episode 321 of Defenders of the Bank, the LAFC podcast that your mother warned you about. That's right. You know my voice. It's the Scarf, J.R. Liebert, coming to you live from beautiful Lawndale, California. And man, am I glad to say this. Sitting across the interwebs from me once again from world famous Philomonster Studios. Finally, he's back for the full episode, folks. I give you one, Christian Philly Philemon.
To quote Brad Pitt in the movie Inglourious Bastards, Buongiorno, Defenders. I know me some French. Buongiorno indeed, coming all the way back from Paris and Frankfurt and London. It feels like it's been forever since I've been a part of an entire podcast. It really does. I think you did like 6 episodes without me. A lot transpired over the course of 2 weeks. 6 episodes. Wow, Herculean effort. But here we are back again to give you all a great episode. Los Angeles, we are rejoicing indeed because our boys made it to yet another Cup final. Hopefully this time with revenge on the mind. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we got a game to recap against the Colorado Rapids. And this is only going to be the 3rd time we've recapped a game against the Colorado Rapids this season. So buckle up. Possibly we can rapidly go through this podcast.
Yeah, look, we are going to talk about the goals. We're going to talk about a couple of missed opportunities from our number 9, Olivier Giroud. And look, I got to bring up our new striker, Jesus Murillo, once or twice again, because he was a big part of the offensive action for sure. Yeah. But Philly, the thing everybody wants to talk about, our chat is blowing up right now. We know. We saw the same rumors y'all have. Toluca coming in over the top of Como FC right now. What we are hearing, this is at CL Merlo, M-E-R-L-O, Cesar Luis Merlo on Twitter. He was the first to report this. Evidently, the contract is done, if you believe it. A 4-year contract. Kike Oliveira to Toluca for an $8 million fee. I don't know. According to our buddy Eric over at the Voices of the Black and Gold pod, he says they picked up Kike for $6 million. So if we're selling him for $8 million, I don't know, Philly. I'm not ready to call time of death on this one just yet.
No, because if they really were ready to sell him, and I'm seeing this all over the place, and yes, Cesar Luis Merlo, you better, if you're just calling BS, I'm going to fly down to wherever the hell you are and give you a wedgie, because this is the dumbest thing ever. $8 million for a 4-year contract. We're going to pocket $2 million on him, possibly with a sell-off or something else. I don't know. If he didn't play yesterday, I would have thought maybe this would be a little more viable. But the reality is, if we only paid $6 for him, we're selling him for $8. I don't know. There has to be some more provisions attached to this. But again, if they were likely to sell him, would they really have played him yesterday? Because typically in these scenarios, they don't play. The players don't play because they don't want to risk an injury, because you know what's going to happen. He's going to go down to Mexico. He's going to have to conduct a physical. They don't want to run the risk of hurting him and screwing the deal. So since Kike played last night, and he played a few minutes, and he was hungry to get another goal, I don't know. I'm not necessarily buying into this rumor just yet.
I just want to remind everybody, though, Philadelphia Union, 2 games ago, their last match with Jose Martinez, one of their key cogs in the midfield, who is just an excellent player. They announced to everyone and the world he's going to Corinthians after this match, and they played him. I think they might have even played him like the full 90, something like that. And he's a massive part. Who knows, right? He blows out his knee or something, and maybe Corinthians calls the deal off. So it's not entirely unprecedented. I think what makes this obviously even tougher, right, is this wasn't a player who was at the end of his rope with LAFC, a la Diego Rossi, a la Brian Rodriguez, a la Jose Cifuentes, who were playing their way out of LAFC to make sure the deal gets done. If anything, Philly, you and I talked about it so often, how when he came back from Uruguay, from Copa America. He was an absolutely different monster for sure. And I'm not ready to see him go yet. This is hard, Philly.
No, I mean, I agree, especially when we're competing the way we are. And he's been a massive part of why this team is good. I would hate to see him go, especially when we're just making a run for trophies and we're on the precipice potentially of two more. They're within our sights. We've got league final on Sunday. We go to Tukwila next week for the opportunity to possibly compete, win, and go to another final. We lose Oliver. Then there's other stupid rumors I'm hearing surrounding Matty Bogusz, possibly linked to Scottish Premier Giants, Celtic. I don't know. I mean, this is silly season. People will make reports to boost values, gauge interest, a whole bunch of other stuff. But until I see the writing on the wall from a viable source, and I'm not saying that this guy with almost 400,000 followers isn't a viable source, but until I see a Tom Bogert or somebody like Fabrizio Romano reporting it, I'm not buying any of the BS that I see from journalists outside of this little world of Major League Soccer, because often than not, it's BS when it doesn't come from somebody that's integrated within the U.S. and Major League Soccer.
Yeah, and I want to say again, too, look, Philly, you and I talk about it all the time. You, lifelong fan of the New York Knicks, myself, a lifelong fan of the Los Angeles Lakers, and we both diehard fans of the New York Metropolitans.
God, we're such suckers for punishment.
There are kids growing up you can throw a dart at the world map, and you can find a kid in a country who's growing up dreaming of being a Los Angeles Laker, maybe even a New York Knick. Probably not a New York Met. Probably not a New York Met. But they're growing up wanting to get to Major League Baseball in the United States and sometimes Canada. They were growing up wanting to play in the NBA, wanting to play in the NFL, wanting to play in the NHL. Being a lifelong fan of several teams in those leagues, you have to change your mindset when you become a supporter of an MLS club. Being a supporter of an MLS club means supporting this, the badge, because kids do not grow up. I don't care who you are or what you think right now. I'll give you $1,000 if you find a kid that grows up saying, I really want to spend my professional career in Carson, California. I really want to spend my professional career in Commerce City, Colorado.
Let's not forget about beautiful Sandy, Utah.
Sandy, Utah. They grow up wanting to play their lives at Old Trafford. They grow up wanting to play their lives at Camp Nou, at the Bernabeu, at several of these clubs in the Bundesliga, playing in front of the yellow wall of Borussia Dortmund. But nobody grows up, at least not yet, wanting to be a part. Yes, I'm sorry. Marky Delgado probably did grow up wanting to play for Carson. That's true. But nobody grows up wanting to be in Major League Soccer in the United States. That's just a fact. And so when we get players, the likes of a Kike Oliveira, the likes of a Matty Bogusz, who you and I, Philly, have talked about how many times that we know they're not, they're not long for this league. We just don't want it to come in the middle of the season like this. We want it to come in December when we can get started without them. This is just, it's killing me. It's killing me.
Yeah, this is the part that's annoying. And look, I saw, I think it was stated like 6 million or whatever, but Transfer Market says here, August 4th, 2023, when Kike Oliveira's transfer from Almeria was completed, it was for about 4.1 million.
Right.
So if that's the number and they're selling him for 8, nearly doubling their money on the acquisition, then all right, then maybe that might be somewhat viable. I refuse to believe they got him. They bought him for 6, sold him for 8, 2 million profit for a player of his upside and potential. Seems like a waste if that was the case. But a doubling of the money, that's a pretty good ROI. So yeah, I don't know. But again, until we see that official, we don't know. We don't like to report on rumors. Actually, I hate having these conversations because it's still silly season. And yes, it can get quite emotional, in particular right now when we're competing as good as we are. I don't know. You said it. He's not going to be long. Same with Matty Bogusz. Not going to be long for Major League Soccer. But selfishly, obviously, I'd love to hold on to him. Be great to sell him for even more, somewhere bigger. Like, I like Matty Bogusz going to Celtic. No disrespect for any Toluca fans out there, but I would much rather watch our boys on Celtic than watch them on Toluca.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was our buddy Beto gave us the Twitter handle. Jose R. Nunez 91 says turning 4 million into 8 million. Another U22 success story. So that goes into the numbers that you just found, if that is indeed the case. But again, just having it happen in August, and it just goes back to the stupid MLS calendar not lining up with the rest of the world football that really matters. I get it, right? Liga MX is going, hey, we matter. Yeah, but you're closer to the right calendar than anybody else. Premier League, everybody else, they just started this last week. I would love to see us move to a different calendar. Obviously, I know you're not going to be playing games in New Jersey or in DC or whatever in December. I get why we don't do it, but it's just so frustrating.
That's never stopped Zenit St. Petersburg. That's never stopped other clubs. I mean, there's plenty of teams out there throughout the world that use the orange pelota when times are cold. I refuse to think that that's the reason why. They don't want to compete with the NFL. It's as simple as that.
Don't let Omar Campos hear you talking about the orange ball. He's going to have some PTSD, dude. Look, we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping it's not now. I don't care that it's to Toluca. I would like it to be a bigger name. All apologies to Toluca fans out there, right? I would love it for it to be Celtic, right? A Celtic out there, or a Galatasaray, or one of those bigger clubs. Hell, I would love it to be one of the teams in the bottom of the Prem because they need a striker. They want to make something happen. That's why I was intrigued about the Como move. Como, who just got promoted from Serie B to Serie A. I mean, that's exactly why they want a player the caliber of Kike Oliveira. Hey, we need a striker. We don't have a ton of money yet because we just got here in the league. We're trying to stay up. Toluca's Toluca. I don't know. But look, it'll make Dave Denholm happy for his Toluca-Pachuca rivalry. There's that. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Hey, you know what, though?
There's more to report on this. I mean, this isn't said and done. Nothing said and done.
Agreed.
We'll keep a very close eye on it.
I do like what Jose66 says here in the chat. In John Thorrington, we trust. I know. But I really like this version of Kike Oliveira. Since he's come back from Copa, he is unreal. So much fun to watch.
Look, in the John Thorrington's comment, we trust. Yeah, he's more steps ahead than we realize. I mean, at this point with us in CONCACAF Champions Cup, he probably already has an idea what the roster is going to look like when we make our run towards that next year. I don't doubt John Thorrington. And again, now that I see Kike's transfer was 4 mil, 8 mil, you know what? Let's not talk about it anymore because I'm feeling kind of nauseous. And the ice cream bar I just had for dessert wants to come on up and smash Hello Kitty.
Well, I hear you. All right, look, the reason that we're able to talk about everything that's going on coming up next with LAFC playing in the final of Leagues Cup, but unfortunately it not being at BMO, is that as we knew, no matter what happened in the other semifinal where Columbus took on Philadelphia, we would be going on the road to wherever that might be. And in this case, because of Diego Rossi with 2 goals and Cucho with another, Columbus 3-1 over Philadelphia, holding Philadelphia to just 4 shots on target. And, oh, by the way, Diego Rossi now tied for the Golden Boot League with one Denis Bouanga. Ben has a question for you in the chat. I just want to make sure you saw it. Philly, before we get into,
I promise.
Before we get into the recap, let's do our very quick. We like to do a couple of things here on Defenders to Make. We do a little thing called This Day in LAFC History, where we look back on wonderful things that have happened on this date, prior years of LAFC. The game, of course, the match, of course, was played on Wednesday, August 21st. So if we look back on August 21st and we go to 2019, it was another 4-0 victory, Philly. 4-0 on the 2024, 4-0 in 2019. And Philly, this was San Jose coming down to the bank. And who can forget the Houdini goal from Carlos Vela, where we had the iconic call from Max Bretos. It was the number one on ESPN's top 10 that night on SportsCenter. And I'm throwing this out there just because I can. A wonderful game from Tyler Miller as he made 6 saves to preserve the clean sheet. But, Philly, if you're listening today, and you are, if you're in the chat, thank you all out there on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever it is that you digest Defenders of the Bank. Today's August 22nd, and since we're playing for a trophy in our next match, Philly, we might as well highlight August 22nd, 2018, the LAFC Academy U13s win the CONCACAF Champions League title, the first international trophy in LAFC club history. Shout out to those U13s. I believe, if I am not mistaken, I want to say Eric Duenas might have been on that team. I have to
Eric Duenas has been part of the team forever. So, yes, he would have been part of that team.
Yeah, so that's the end of our This Day in LAFC history. Our news and notes is talking about this whole Kike Oliveira thing.
Well, there is one thing, Scarf.
All right, that's why I'm throwing it to Philly.
Yeah, there is one thing we do need to address. So we were supposed to have a game on August 24th against the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yep.
So for any of you that still think that game's going to happen, change your flight because the game got rescheduled to October 13th at 4:30 p.m. So hopefully you're not on a plane going to Vancouver. And if you are, Vancouver's great. But if you think you're going to catch a game at Bad Carpet Place, it's not going to happen. At least not the 24th, October 13th.
And this is how I know Philly didn't listen to episode 320. But there you go.
Oh, well, I mean, I was traveling.
But Philly, here's what they could do while they're up there. LAFC.
Tim Hortons.
Yes. LAFC 2 plays against Vancouver Whitecaps 2 on Sunday, August 25th. So here's the problem, though, Philly. They kick off at 4, and LAFC kicks off at 4:15. I don't know how many people are going to watch the LAFC 2 game if LAFC is playing for a trophy 15 minutes later. So sorry about that. And Philly, just so that you don't sleep on the couch tonight, as a reminder, for all of your ACFC needs, please be sure to listen to Angel City Chicks and to follow at Angel City Chicks on all your social media platforms. Philly, didn't Chris Armas look a little bit like Vin Diesel on the sidelines there? Just a little bit.
I went to the press conference because, unlike you, I remembered to apply for credentials.
Yeah.
I was, Chris Armas is a pretty ripped dude. He's like, yeah, there's definitely a bit of a doing it for the family kind of a demeanor that he has. I mean, when he rolled into the press conference, all I can hear is, I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Totally with Chris Armas. But I was very pleasantly surprised by his demeanor and his optimism and his glass half full approach. His team just got the crap kicked out of him. Meanwhile, he's talking about how proud he is of them, how they were a team that were ranked 46 in this tournament. And now they have an opportunity to play for a CONCACAF Champions League spot and finish third. He had a lot of really good things to say. I kind of like a Vanni Sartini for that matter. Like the cool thing about Leagues Cup, I will say, is just getting to be in the press conference with the opposing team's coach. I've developed a lot of respect for Vanni Sartini. A lot of y'all have because we've seen the Vancouver Whitecaps so many times. If anything, Vanni Sartini reminds us of Rowan Atkinson, and that makes me laugh. But Chris Armas, in his Vin Diesel style looking, just being as optimistic as he was, I really grew a lot of respect for him after the presser yesterday.
I mean, look, I believe he's friends with Steve Cherundolo, those guys, those former U.S.
the national team
and old MLS guys. You know, Chris Armas is a good dude, man. He's trying to make it work in MLS. He obviously didn't have the best of luck outside of MLS or even with MLS for all that long. But let's not forget, Philly, how Colorado got here, even though they lost 4-0 to Portland. So their tournament begins and ends with a 4-0 loss. They lost 4-0 to Portland. They also beat León on PKs after a 1-1 draw in regulation. So León to get out of the group stage. Juarez 3-2 to get out of the round of 32. Toluca, there they go again, 2-1 to get out of the round of 16. Maybe if Toluca would have just beaten Colorado, this never would have happened with Kike. And then in the quarterfinals, oh, by the way, 9-8 on PKs after holding Club America scoreless during regulation. Yeah. That, by my count, Philly, is 4 Liga MX teams to get here. What an incredible run for Colorado in this tournament.
I mean, hell of a run, absolutely. I mean, the only Liga MX team that we got to see was Club Tijuana. We whooped up on them 3-0, and then basically he was just running the gamut on MLS teams that we've seen a bunch of times. The Vancouver Whitecaps, I mean, that was a draw. They beat us in the PKs. Austin, we beat 2-0. San Jose, we beat 4-1. Seattle Sounders, we beat 3-0. I mean, ever since we came out of the group stages, we've scored, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 9 goals, only allowed 1. LAFC's been running the gamut, man, taking care of business. And obviously coming into this game against the Colorado Rapids, add 4 more to that, and Hugo Lloris getting himself his 4th clean sheet in Leagues Cup. I mean, wow. But it's not as exciting in terms of it being a run as it was for the Colorado Rapids. Look, if there are any Rapids fans out there that are listening to this pod right now, I tip my hat off to y'all. I remember how much I hated each and every single one of you when you ended our season in Commerce City on decision day, destroying us the final day of the season. But, when we beat you, I don't hate you. So let's just put it that way. Congrats, and I hope you beat the Union.
And look, I'll say this too. Philly, you and I were watching the same game. You can tell me what you think about this. They lost 4-0, and Zach Steffen had a hell of a game. Zach Steffen played great.
I don't know about that.
I mean, the Lewis O'Brien goal notwithstanding, I think he was a little flat-footed on that. But how many saves? I mean, he had 2 or 3 on trying to be way too cute, because he's already way too cute, Olivier Giroud. He had a beautiful save on Denis Bouanga at least once or twice. Yeah, I mean, he made some saves in that match. This could have been, Philly, 6, 7, 8-0. If he doesn't make some of those saves, and if Olivier Giroud doesn't try to do way too much with the ball in the second half. But either way,
it should have been 5-0. I question that offside call on Denis Bouanga.
Yeah. Look, I got to tip, as you like to say, I got to tip my hat off to the former Man City keeper and former U.S. men's national team darling. But I think if he continues to play this way, we might see him maybe push at least Ethan Horvath out of the spot for number 2. I don't know. Ethan Horvath had an absolute howler for, was it Burnley? Who's he playing for? Whoever he had or against Burnley. Ethan Horvath, I mean, go back and watch his first
Coventry. Who do we have that's playing at Coventry City?
Yeah, I don't know. But I know it's the championship, English championship. Ethan Horvath had a howler this last week. So we'll see. All right. Philly, shall we get into the lineups?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay.
Cardiff City. Okay, Ethan Horvath is a Cardiff City.
Cardiff City lost to Burnley. And watch Philly while I'm.
That's right, Haji. Right, that's right.
Haji, right. I love the autocorrect on Rob there. Philly, while you have a second, while I go through the lineup, just go ahead and Google Ethan Horvath howler last week. It was kind of a fun one. Colorado comes out in a 4-2-3-1, and the biggest news for them is that there would be no more Moise Bombito. He left to go to Nice in the, I think, south of France. I don't know. It's in France somewhere.
Yes, it's in the south of France.
Which is better than Commerce City, Colorado. I don't care. So no Moise Bombito. Look, I'll say this. For both the Canadian men's national team and for Colorado, he's a special player. He's very good. He's also the guy that fouled Lionel Messi. They got those death threats and everything during Copa America. But he's a really, really good player. And I think what we're seeing is Colorado still having to figure out how to adjust to not having that sweeper on that back line, that guy almost like an Alphonso Davies for Bayern. I'm not going at all that far, but another former Canadian who kind of played that outside back spot and just swept everything away. Colorado missing Bombito, in my opinion, for sure.
Well, he ain't going to be missing Colorado when he gets to take trips to Cannes and Saint-Tropez.
Oh, that's for sure. Goalkeeper Zach Steffen, we already talked about him, the former Man City man in their 4-2-3-1. Their back line consisting of Sam Vines, Andreas Maxu, Lawless Abubakar, who, by the way, I think Lawless Abubakar, Philly, made it all the way up to the top of my list as my least favorite player in MLS now. I'll talk about why in just a little bit. And defender Keegan Rosenberry. The Rosenberries taste like Rosenberries. The midfielders, Connor Ronan and Cole Bassett. And at forward, Jonathan Lewis, former NYCFC goal scorer. Georgi Mihailovic, a very, very good player who is fun to watch. Didn't have a huge impact on this one. Omir Fernandez, the former New Jersey Energy Drink himself. And Rafael Navarro at forward for Colorado. He did not look happy coming out of this match. In the 18, you got Stuart Baines, you got Calvin Harris, who is a much better DJ than he is Colorado Rapid, Oliver Larraz, Darren Yappy, and Jasper Loffelson for Colorado. Philly, our 18 looked pretty normal. Maybe a little bit of wondering as to why a certain player didn't start up top, but nothing that would be crazy.
Yeah, 3-4-3. That seems to be the number that's been spitting out very nice dividends as far as our formation goes. Hugo Lloris very much looking like the fantastic World Cup champion that he is. In between the sticks, Jesus David Murillo being a very big part of our, let's put it this way, offense. Maxime Chenot, who's starting to fire on all cylinders, including from shots outside of the box. Aaron Long, and up top, not up top, in the midfield, Sergi Palencia, Ilya Sanchez, Scarf's favorite player this season, Edward Atuesta, and Ryan Hollingshead, who was very much involved in this game. Got a great player rating as per FOTMOB at the conclusion of last night. Matty Bogusz, Kai Kamara, and Denis Bouanga up top. What a killer starting lineup. In the 18, the wall, Thomas Tussauds. I'd say at this point, he has firmly secured his spot as the number 2 keeper behind Hugo Lloris. Eddie Segura would come in. Omar Campos. Lewis O'Brien, who played at DC United, had scored a goal at DC United, 23 games for Middlesbrough last season in the English Championship League, on loan from Nottingham Forest. Kike Oliveira, and of course, Olivier Giroud. Notice that I saved him for last.
You're trying to put him out of your mind there, Philly? What's going on?
Yeah, well, yeah. Look, I wasn't sitting with y'all for the game. I was in the press box. I have no idea how loud my wife would have gotten when he started in the second half, but let's just say I kind of blocked that out of my mind. If we're going to talk about who else was in the lineup, Eric Dueñas, Timothy Tillman was dressed, and he did run at the end of the game, but he was listed as out as per LAFC's media guide. David Martinez and Nathan Ordaz, they pretty much like throw the entire team at you out there for Leagues Cup. So, but not everybody played, of course.
Yeah, and look, first half, all game, I just want to say something about LAFC and their defense real quick. There was one moment, where Ugo was really tested. One moment. And that came 2 minutes away from a clean sheet.
Yep.
One moment. So as we go through the first half, other than a couple of near misses for LAFC, we're going to talk about the goals. Because I said this leading up to it, Philly. You heard me say it on One More Sleep. I think it's okay to start talking about how good this team is now. I think it's okay to go into each and every match that we play for the rest of the season confident in our ability to score goals, but more importantly, confident in our ability to prevent goals. Because I think what is more important to me, what has been more fun to watch, although in a game like this, man, it was pretty 50-50. But what's been more fun to watch, I mean, we do call ourselves the defenders of the bank. We do love our defenders, is the way that we've been defending. What is it? 16-1, something like that, 15-1, 16-1 in Leagues Cup so far for LAFC. I mean, it's unreal what we've been doing. It's unreal what we've been doing in our last 22 matches. Now, I will say one thing, Philly. That match against Columbus where we got hammered, that match against Columbus, we came out in a 3-4-3. We lost 5-1. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll go back to the 4-3-3.
Mulligan, Scarf. It was a mulligan.
I'm just saying. All right. So, Philly, we come out, shot out of the cannon. I love it. A couple of early chances for LAFC. Matty with the cross to Denis. And Philly, did it? You were over in the press box. Did that cross take forever to get to Denis for you as well? Because that pass from Matty, that ball bounced and bounced and bounced and bounced. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was a heck of a pass. And yes, if you think that it was taking a while, it's not because your edibles kicked in at the right time. It really did seem like it floated quite substantially. It was a great pass. A great pass, and as Denis catches it, he fires it in. He didn't have too much on it. Easy routine save for Zach Steffen. Then Kai Kamara there, ricocheting the rebound. He didn't have much on it either. Zach gets a claw on it. Rapids got really lucky because that game could have probably been put away that early in the game. That's how relentless LAFC was coming out of the gates.
Oh, 100%. And then what? Just 10 minutes later, Denis offside by a shoulder, right? Otherwise, it's 2-0 after 14 minutes. And you and I We might have started to maybe look up flights, seeing what's going on in Columbus, something like that. I
No,
don't know.
no, we learned season 1 doing that against Real Salt Lake in the first round, never to do that again.
Right. But we could have been up 2-0. Honestly, the only real bit of danger in the first half for Ugo was in the 38th minute as we committed that foul just outside the box, and Connor Ronan takes the free kick. They play it outside up top to Connor Ronan about 22 yards away, and right at Ugo for an easy save. And really, that's it from Colorado in the first half. But Philly, I told you and I talked about this at One More Sleep. You and I talked about this pre-show. We got a new striker, and it's not Olivier Giroud. It's number 3, Jesus Murillo. And he had everything to do with this first goal, Philly.
I mean, he did. Well, obviously the goal didn't get credited to him, but he was a part of as to how it happened. No question on the validity of the strike, though, by Matty Bogusz. You can see that play develop. Matty continues to shine. Murillo involved in the attack. I mean, the ball gets into Bogusz, and I mean, he hits for a bombasso. I think that's the term I use for one heck of a smash. And Matty Bogusz getting on the boards. It was a brilliant through ball because I think Ryan, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan Hollingshead was somewhat involved in that. He allowed that to go through from Moody right to Bogusz, and he gets it. It has that nice bounce to the right of Zach Steffen. 1-0, 42nd minute in, and that was your backbreaker for the Colorado Rapids. It really was. They were playing as solidly as they can. Chris Armas and Steve Cherundolo took note of the fact that they did everything they could to disrupt LAFC's flow. But once they get off and running, it's never just one for the black and gold. They typically open the floodgates with far more than one.
You're absolutely right. And again, what I loved about that is the passing. You got Ilie involved. You got Hollingshead involved. You got Murillo. And then Ryan makes that kind of overlapping run into the center, which left Matty Bogusz wide open to just take a full speed one-timer as he curled that around Zach Steffen. And, that was weird. Do you still see me? That was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I see you. Hi. My computer just did weird things. And Philly, you said it. You hit the nail on the head. We don't just get one. We're like those Lay's potato chips. Bet you can't eat just one. And Philly, I love
Pringles. Once you pop, you just can't stop.
There you go. Kai Kamara started the play. Kai Kamara ended the play for LAFC. What another display of passing. Lalas Abubakar, my least favorite player, tries to play it back towards our goal, but it bangs right off Kai. What I was most impressed with is he bangs it right off Kai, and Kai, within the same motion, plays it out to Denis Bouanga so quickly. How did Kai know he was there? That was incredible. Denis sends Ryan Hollingshead forward, who he kind of leapt over the ball. It was like a little gazelle, just kind of leaping over the ball there, and then crosses it on the ground. Full head of steam. Kai Kamara, after making that initial pass to Denis, just starts sprinting and hammers it home from Ryan Hollingshead. Another unsung move on the play, by the way, is if you watch Matty God, you guys in the chat are amazing. If you watch Matty Bogusz, he kind of backs away from that ball a little bit, and he's able to put it into the back of the net. Kai Kamara and Philly, I'm gonna ask you to take over for a minute because I have to go move my car. Nothing like a live podcast where I have to move the car. One moment.
Why do you have to move your car? You have a driveway.
No, there's someone who needs to get out that I'm behind. That's how that works.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'll take over. I'll make sure not to start the second half.
No, start the second half.
Get out of here.
Talk all about Olivier Giroud coming in. I know how much you love it.
Yeah. Well, yes, I just want to blood being spilled in the water, defenders, as Scarf said. Kai Kamara with a killer cut, causing a contusion created in the gloves of Zach Steffen. How's about that for a made-up alliteration? 2-0 at this point, and a trip to the Buckeye State looking far more obvious now, but we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We found ourselves in the League's Cup going into the locker room up 2-0, blowing it. Hashtag Monterrey Rayados. I was going to say Flash, but we're not talking about the Major Arena Soccer League. At halftime stats, LAFC, 9 shots, 4 of them on target. The Rapids, 5, 1 of them on target. LAFC doing their thing, and Jesus David Murillo not only obviously getting involved in the offense, he led all players on the black and gold in terms of tackles won. He led everybody between both sides in terms of duels won. Jesus David Murillo, from time to time can be a frustrating player. He's a walking yellow card obtaining machine, but he's been really coming to his own. He's been a big reason as to why we've kept a lot of these clean sheets. And, we had a solid first half. Again, he contributed to it. We more than doubled our XG for the half. I think MLS had us at a 0.98, coming in with 2 to go in the second half. And, that's pretty exciting stuff. Starting the second half, we have champagne wishes and caviar dreams. In that we have France's all-time leading scorer coming off the bench, replacing the number 2 scorer in the history of Major League Soccer. Think about that for a second. Kike, who already is a legend in Major League Soccer. Only Chris Wondolowski has more goals than Kike does in his Major League Soccer career. He scores the second goal. He comes off the bench for Olivier Giroud, who is a World Cup winner, has had plenty of trophies, plenty of success, and despite his age, last season but was in the top 10 in Serie A during his tenure at AC Milan in goals and assists. He starts the second half. Pretty freaking crazy. I know Scarf doesn't have the longest driveway in the world. I wonder what the heck he's doing, but going into the second half, 52nd minute, nearly the Giroud goal that we all wanted. We can already see the chemistry between him and Denis is there. They both connect, although his shot gets pawed away by Zach Steffen. Seconds later, Giroud with a well-hit ball just outside of the box. And LAFC already counterattacking the hell out of the Rapids. There's the Scarf. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Moving his car, classic California. That's also a classic New York thing, because when they do this alternate side of the street cleaning when you're parked in the city, you got to move your car, because the last thing you want to have is being the only schmuck on the block with your car parked as the cleaners come in. Anyway, I got side noted. I was talking about how Giroud in the 52nd minute connected with Denis, had a shot saved, and they already look good. And by the way, you know who else Denis connects really well with? Ryan Hollingshead. Those two played very, very well together yesterday, and for a lot of games for that matter. But here we are moving forward, Scarf. We're right around the 59th minute. You can pick it up now.
Yeah, real quick. I just want to make sure we appreciate what Sergi Palencia did on that ball where Matty passed it over to Olivier Giroud. Sergi Palencia coming out of nowhere, playing so much stronger and bigger than he actually is. Does wonders to steal that ball on the right wing to find Matty Bogusz, who got that ball to Giroud, who put it high over the bar like that. He's just so special. I really do think he might be our most unsung talent this season. He got player of the month, according to LAFC, the LAFC player of the month, I should say, Sergi Palencia last month. So, he's incredible. But look, off a corner kick, and you're thinking, all right, Colorado finally got close enough to maybe do a little bit of damage. It's just 2-0, as some people call it, the most dangerous lead in soccer. I think that's the dumbest thing of all time, but that's just me. They get the ball on the corner kick, and you're thinking, okay, here comes Colorado. No, my friend. LAFC clears it out to the top of the box, and we have seen the blur, Denis Bouanga, do this before. He kind of heads it over to himself. He and Olivier almost got tangled up there, but Olivier did a great job to kind of stay out of the way of Denis Bouanga, kept it to himself. You got Olivier booking it, but Olivier is not as fast as Denis Bouanga anymore. That was kind of interesting to see. But you know who was as fast as Denis Bouanga, Philly? Our new number 9, number 3, Jesus Murillo, was booking it on the other side. He was hoping Denis would slot him over the pass and he could put it in. But Denis goes, no. Maybe you didn't understand. I'm Denis Bouanga.
Dame la balle. Estoy en mi casa.
This is my golden boot that I'm trying to now catch stupid Diego Rossi over there in Columbus for trying to win. And he absolutely hammers it. Denis does what Denis does, makes it 3-0. 6 goals in the tournament for Denis, 6 goals in the tournament for Go Diego Go. And it's all going to be left up to those 90 minutes, Philly, to see who gets both the League's Cup trophy and the Golden Boot.
Yeah, dude, he absolutely – Sam Vines tried to do everything he could to stop Denis Bouanga not having it. Now he's tied with Diego Rossi. 12th goal for Denis Bouanga in the League's Cup tournament for the last 2 years. He's number 1 in the statistical category. And he's either scored or assisted on a goal in all the 9 League's Cups LAFC games that LAFC has played, which is crazy. He's our MVP. He's going to be a candidate once again for league MVP, playing in the way that he does. He started the season off rather slowly, rather quietly.
Oh, yeah.
Not to be denied. I mean, we haven't had MLS regular season in quite some time. He's still right behind Chicho Arango, obviously still because we haven't had any games. But, I mean, he's just really coming into his own. It's just wild, man. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here and saying this. When all is said and done, for me personally, my favorite LAFC player of all time until proven otherwise, from now till whatever, dude, it's got to be Denis Bouanga. We don't have that many players throughout our history. Definitely not a Carlos Vela that, played passionately. Here's a guy that wants to win, and you can see it in everything he does. Even if he blows a wide open shot, he comes back. He doesn't get down on himself. He continues to attack and attack. And if it's not his game, he's doing something a little differently than he did last season. He's opening up his game and contributing to his teammates, leading the team in assists over the course of Major League Soccer's regular season as well. The guy comes off of a plane jet lagged. I know what it's like to come off of a plane jet lagged, but I ain't running. No way. I ain't running even if I'm not jet lagged these days. Denis Bouanga is a rock star. He's a thoroughbred. He's a stud, and he's a cold-hearted, stone-cold killer, and he's a ton of fun to watch.
No, I mean, look, it's something special. I think, I brought Heidi with me to the game that last match, and she was watching Denis Bouanga, and she said to me, completely unsolicited, she said, dude, he just plays hard the whole time. Like, that's her first time really seeing Denis play that way, although she has come to a couple of games now. But seeing Denis Bouanga play, for someone who watches LAFC once or for someone who's been watching LAFC for 7 years, he does play differently than any player we've had. Carlos he played a little bit more smoother, a little bit more finesse.
He's elegant.
Even when he was playing at his hardest, right? Even in those Zlatan versus Carlos Vela battles, all of that, he still didn't play like Denis Bouanga. He plays different, man. You're absolutely right. Philly, I didn't think we would be looking back on the 63rd minute as Kike Oliveira subbed in for Matty Bogusz, Omar Campos coming in for Ryan Hollingshead, and Luis O'Brien for Ilya Sanchez. I didn't think this moment would be as historic as it might be for our club and losing Kike Oliveira if it is going to happen. But maybe this is the last time we see him as he comes on just after the hour mark, along with Omar Campos and Luis O'Brien. And just a few minutes later, it was Atuesta to Omar to Kike in the box, and Kike had a couple of different chances at it, kind of saved away. Didn't think that would be one of the last significant touches potentially for Kike Oliveira.
Stop saying this.
And Philly, I'm gonna say this one so that you can take care of the goal. How's that? In the 72nd minute, we know Olivier Giroud is attractive, but he was trying to be way too cute with the ball once again. Denis with a wonderful pass across to Olivier, who got a little bit of luck, like that Ryan Hollingshead goal last match as it caromed off a defender, but it found him nicely. I mean, why is Olivier doing anything other than taking one touch and hammering, or just hammering it on the volley? He took a couple too many touches. The shot was saved wide by Zach Steffen again, but I don't know. Olivier, maybe do a little too much with it, bud. Just hammer it home. I mean, I was thinking to myself, what an idiot. I forgot to apply for press, and I'm not going to be there when they bring Olivier in to talk about how he scored his first goal in black and gold. But luckily, Philly will be there, so he'll ask him some sort of hard-hitting question. But I guess it was okay that he didn't score, because now you and I can be there in the presser together when Olivier finally gets that first one in black and gold.
I mean, he almost got it. I mean, he was lining up thinking he would get himself a PK.
Yeah.
A penalty kick. I can't say PK because that is a term that everybody at Swansea hated Bob Bradley for using. It's a penalty kick, you dumb American. I got to get out of the habit of saying the PK. I went live. I don't know if you know this at one point. Like, I went live thinking that, Giroud was lining up for a penalty kick. You remember that sequence, that scene where there's a foul in the box?
Oh, yeah.
VAR clearly thought otherwise. But anyway, look, all the attention this entire transfer window has been on Olivier Giroud, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. I mean, his career accolades are just unbelievable. But we got this guy by the name of Luis O'Brien. And yes, he might have not been the player that you guys were all hoping for. He checks into the game. He plays 26 minutes. He has one shot, with one of them being on target, a shot that essentially ricochets, bounces off to him, and he strikes it, not in the most convincing of fashions. And it takes a bounce, and it gets by Zach Steffen. And under normal circumstances, probably a ball Zach Steffen should have made a save on. I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe Philly in the scarf could have even made that save. But nevertheless, it scoots by to the bottom right. Lewis O'Brien becomes the fourth scorer in the game for LAFC, finding the back of the net 4-0 at this point, and that's pretty cool. Now, if you would have asked us about 2 weeks ago, or even told us that, Lewis O'Brien is going to score for LAFC before Olivier Giroud, we'd have thought you were insane, out of your mind, loco en la cabeza. But it happened last night, so congratulations to Lewis O'Brien. This loan already starting to work wonders for us. A depth piece, finding the back of the net really quickly. I think that's he did score a goal when he was on DC United. I think he scored one against not Orlando, the Montreal before they were called Club de Foot. Opens up his scoring sheet 4-0, and that's pretty much all she wrote. A couple things happened, but 4 scores in a game, pretty darn cool for a quarterfinal.
And I've said it before, our new technical director, Neil, absolutely loves Lewis O'Brien, and we can totally see why. The tempo just changes a little bit with Lewis O'Brien there in the midfield. He's definitely perfectly fit for this offense. Eddie Segura coming on for Aaron Long in the 76th minute, and then after the match, Philly, I don't know if you caught this because you were probably headed down to the press conference because you were responsible to remember to apply for the press conference because it's a Leagues Cup match. Aaron Long did not look good limping around after the match. So I think maybe even another reason that we might be playing a 4-3-3 moving ahead to Columbus in our next match. Aaron Long didn't look great. It's just a quick turnaround, right, from Wednesday to Sunday, including a flight to Columbus. Who knows how he's going to feel after all that. I'm fully confident in a 4-3-3 with Jesus Murillo and Maxime Chanot for sure. But I think it's one of those things. And somebody else in the chat, by the way, asked who we think will start the next match between Kike Kamara and Olivier Giroud. And I'll say this, I would like Kike Kamara to potentially start the next match one more time, just so we could have what we saw yet again in this match and what we've seen over and over from him, his aerial supremacy on defensive headers. I know Olivier Giroud can get up with the best of them. I mean, I've seen so many goals of his scored off of that beautifully coiffed hair. But I just think Kike Kamara should start this one and do exactly what we did in this match, next match. That's just my thought. Colorado got their second shot on goal in the 81st minute. Woo! And then Philly, the moment that we were talking about towards the end, right? We did have Kike Oliveira, but Zach Steffen made a beautiful save, which might be his
stonewalled him in the 82nd. Absolutely. Best save to me, best save of the game for Steffen.
Oh, 100%. Might be Kike's last attempt on goal, but you hate
Stop saying that.
I won't say it. But Philly, in the 89th minute, Ugo, you might think, he's a little older. Maybe he's looking at the clock going, all right, I just want to coast on in here last couple minutes or so. A rocket of a free kick. Was it Larraz who took
Yep, it was Larraz, correct.
I mean, what a save.
You could spot that ginger from a mile away.
What a save by Ugo. A minute away from the clean sheet because there was no stoppage time. Our last 2 matches have both gone this way. I think 1 minute in the first half and none in the second. I mean, wow. But Ugo doing everything he had to, made all 3 saves he needed to. Another clean sheet. Better than Tyler Miller, for sure, is Hugo Lloris.
Yeah, and the 3252 letting Hugo Lloris know how much they appreciated him because they erupted in a Hugo Lloris chant. I don't even know if I really recall the 3252 going into Maxime Crepeau chants.
No, but they definitely did a couple Tyler Miller chants back in the day.
No, that's what I was thinking of. Tyler Miller had his chants, and his chance is to obviously go down as an LAFC legend. I know there's somebody out there that's charming by me using the words Tyler Miller and legend But is he better than Vermeer? Abraham Romero was better than Vermeer. Let's put it that way. Put it that. I would say Jamal Blackman was better than Kenneth Vermeer. Kenneth Vermeer really came at the tail end of his career. A hell of a career, by the way, that any of us would kill to have, but it just didn't work out for LAFC. Look, that's all she wrote. We win. And under Steve Cherundolo, defenders, we've now reached the finals of the CONCACAF Champions Cup in 2023. 2 MLS Cup finals back-to-back, one where we won in 22, another one in 2023 where we lost, and now the League's Cup final in 2024. This year alone, and this already felt like the longest season, not quite like last year, but long enough, 22-5-6 in all competitions in 2024. And yeah, dude, since what? That horrible loss to San Jose on May the 4th, we're 18-1-3 in all competitions. I want to get ahead of myself, but this is a damn good LAFC squad. Really, really is. Oh, I don't hear you.
I muted myself because I was coughing and forgot to unmute myself. Philly, you and I both know that the only thing that's left is to win trophies at this point.
Yep.
We know we're a good club. We know we're a top 1, 2, 3 club in Major League Soccer. Now, the club that we're about to play handed us our behind the last time we played them. And the club that we're about to play handed us our behind for the first 70 some odd minutes of MLS Cup on their home turf last year. But I'm going to bring over a saying from the NFL, Philly, that we can apply hopefully to MLS. Hardest thing to do in a season is to beat a team 3 times. Well, this is our 3rd time that we get to go up against Columbus, and we're both at the height of our powers right now. Who knows what's going to happen with Kike? I'll stop talking about it. I know. But that's, to me, it should be an MLS Cup preview. Right? We know Carson will want to have to say something about it. We know Miami will want to have to say something about it. But I don't know if you look around MLS, if you would get too many people saying anything different than these are the 2 best teams in MLS, maybe even in CONCACAF right now. I don't know what those Liga MX teams are going to look like towards the end of the season. But this is the matchup that everybody wanted, right? Maybe even us.
If you're a competitor and you want to win, right? You want to know that you are the best, and the only way to know that you are the best, as per Ric Flair, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And while it would have been fine playing Philadelphia and beating the Union again, and yes, we would have rejoiced all the same, there is something different about it being the Columbus Crew. And I'm sure Seattle is thinking about this too, preparing for our trip to Tukwila, where we're going to play on synthetic turf yet again, but we'll talk about that later. Going into Columbus and beating the Crew on their home turf, especially off the heels of them kicking the shite, excuse me for saying that, out of us 5-1 at home. We don't lose 5-1 to anybody, let alone 5-1 at home. This is, you truly want to test your mettle. We beat the Columbus Crew on the road. That, to me, is the ultimate satisfaction. And I think I saw a question in the chat in regards to prize money. Miami won $2 million last year, so I assume that they might have upped the ante on there. The prize money isn't necessarily what League's Cup makes special. It's just the 3 entry spots to the CONCACAF Champions Cup. It's a modest fee that people get for winning it. And I know for a fact Miami got $2 million last season. But there'll be nothing better than to beat Columbus. That being the case, we can't be egotistical and pretentious and cocky about it, because the Crew have been our kryptonite. They are stinking good. And what sucks even more about that is 2 out of their top 3 leading scorers are former LAFC players. One that won the Golden Boot in Major League Soccer wearing our kit. The other one who couldn't hit water falling off of a boat, but now he does it consistently as a member of our now opponents, the Columbus Crew. But to your point, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And to me, nothing would give me more satisfaction than to beat the Crew on their home turf.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's going to be our biggest win that we've had since the MLS Cup final, because look, we haven't won any of these other trophies, and we've had plenty of times to play for them. Not Open Cup, not Leagues Cup, not CONCACAF Champions League or Champions Cup. We haven't won them. We've won MLS Cup. And that's very linear for all these teams. We know what the path is. Just keep winning in your MLS season. But when you have to derail your season and focus on another trophy, and now we have to focus on 2, but really we got to get this one now. This is all that matters right now. We haven't won these. This is huge. Ilie Sanchez, after the match, right, looked at the press and said, go ahead, write us down as underdogs. Ilie, we are. I don't care how good we're playing. 5-1 the last time we played these guys in our building. 2-1 in the biggest game that we have played in the last few years in their building. So all things point to LAFC being the underdog in this match. And I don't think it's insulting at all. No. I think it's what we have earned by how we have played against that club and in these situations before. But that being said, you're absolutely right. This might be our biggest win in club history if we do it. I know a lot of people are like, no, Leagues Cup is a BS tournament. I'm there. I'm with you. I think it's ridiculous. And it will never hold the weight, the Leagues Cup trophy, as the MLS Cup should for LAFC.
Of course not.
Getting into CONCACAF Champions Cup, Philly, you mentioned it. That's why we play in this tournament. Lock up one of those 3 spots. That's why we play in this tournament. But the cup itself is all about adding to our trophy case. It's not about the prestige of Leagues Cup yet. But beating Columbus in Columbus, a couple of months after they absolutely took us behind the woodshed, that's the big draw for me, I think.
Yeah, I agree. $2 million is a drop in the bucket for this team. I mean,
I would like it.
I would like it. I mean, I would like 1% of that right now. Hell, even like 0.5% of that right now. It'd be great. I spent quite a bit of money on vacation. I need money. Money.
Paris, London, and Frankfurt. No, you were in Paris, London, and Frankfurt. You don't get to complain. No.
I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying I need to replenish the coffers because, yeah, we don't have that flex money anymore, baby. I'm not seeing the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Jacob Emrani, body armor. Show us the money. Show us the money.
Just to remind everybody, the game is Sunday, August 25th at 4:15 p.m. Whatever we're doing. BMO apparently may be announcing a watch party at some point. I don't know. Whatever you're doing, watch it with all your friends. Watch it with all your fellow LAFC supporters. Just want to remind everybody that after that, Wednesday, August 28th in Tukwila for the Open Cup semi. And then Saturday, August 31st. Why not? Just keep playing matches. Saturday, August 31st. Home at BMO versus the Houston Dynamo. So it's quite a little run that we've set up for ourselves, Philly. We get to go play for a trophy, play for a game that lets us play for a trophy, and then go beat up on the human highlighters of Houston.
Yep. Before we get going, I'm not going to ever take up too much time because I'm going to bring her on in subsequent episodes. But Hello Kitty had a little something that she wanted to say to the Columbus crew.
Hello, Columbus crew. This is Hello Kitty, and if you are watching this, you can see that I am wearing a Matty Bogusch number 19 kit. And the reason why you get to see me in this position is because I have a message for you. Kiss my furry little butt. LAFC is coming to win and hoist that Leagues Cup trophy. And that's the bottom line because Hello Kitty said so.
All right, now that I've got that out of the system.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. Let's let Hello Kitty have the last word and just say bye-bye.
I'm all for that. Bye-bye.
Press the button.